some of the things I heard from the campaigning we were doing in North Carolina floored me in 2008. We were talking to voters that thought black people couldn't vote, and there were small town sheriffs that were propagating that to a lot of the sort of the poor rural black folks. Actually, so since I'm surprised I haven't told you this story. Let me try to make this as short as I can. So. In North Carolina, when I volunteered, I figured they were going to put me in the Raleigh-Durham area where I was going to school, but they sent me out with volunteer teams out into outer North Carolina. And this is a true story, an actual conversation I had with an older black lady in the hills of North Carolina, and she said to me, you know, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Rich white kid like you coming up here lying to black folks. Now, the first thing I'll say is that I certainly wasn't rich then. I didn't have shit back then. But anyway, and I said to her, whoa, I mean, what makes you think that? And she said, you know black folks can't vote. And you're up here telling me whatever else. And I said to her, no. So we went through all this kind of stuff. And she said to me, I said, well, you know, there's a black man running for president. And she went, See, now I know you're lying to me, and you should respect your elders. You shouldn't be lying to black folks. Ain't no black man allowed to run for president in this country. And we had pictures of him because they didn't have a lot of TV. There was mostly radio, and they didn't get very many stations. And so I showed her his picture, and she goes, "Okay, smartass, what's his name?" And I said, Barack Hussein Obama. And she went, see, now I know you're lying to me. Ain't no one named Hussein running for anything in this country. Hussein's the guy trying to attack us over in Iraq. So there was a lot of, so what we did was trying to get people registered and get them to the polls, and had to navigate how do you get people signed up in a state where I wasn't from. And it's pretty easy in Iowa. You would think every state's a little bit different. And so I was just floored. And then Barack Obama to me is an absolute inspiration for numerous reasons, not just because he's the first black president. Yeah. I often say, I don't want to do Skype for this show. I want to do face-to-face conversations, and then I talk about how I ask every guest, I want to have at least an hour, but 2 is better. I joke that if I would fly literally anywhere in the world for 5 minutes with Barack Obama to have him on the show, just because to meet him would be such an inspiration to me. And I felt like, and maybe this is naive, maybe this is again this me being a white guy in the Midwest, even though I was on the East Coast in Carolina, but I felt like we were moving in such a good direction. The conversation seemed to be going in good places. My gay friends seemed much more accepted. And then 2 years ago, I was as shocked as anybody when what happened and President Trump got elected. I mean, what's your take on and then everything in Charlottesville? I mean, what's your take on sort of the political climate, and what was your take on Obama's presidency and anything like that?
Try to stay a little closer. I think it was a disaster. My daughter woke up crying that morning, when Trump got elected, and I was trying to comfort her and tell her it's gonna be all right. There's been worse things that happened to us. Well, I don't know anymore. I think this is pretty bad, as far as like, the bigotry, the hate, the division between cultures. I mean, he pretty much has, the president has the American people right where he wants them. If that's what he's selling and he's promoting, he's doing a really good job of it, and it's caused a lot of problems in our country. I think, to be 100% honest, Barack Obama was the silencer on the gun. They put the silencer on the gun because at that point we were ready. I think the culture and the people in the culture were sick of this shit. We were ready to. It was going to be an uprising, and Obama was kind of like, calm down. You guys got a black president now, so be cool. Y'all go over here and be cool. Don't be messing with our government. That's. Okay. I mean, I think that's what. I mean, to be 100% honest, that's what I feel like Obama was. I mean, he gave us a chill pill. We like, hey, we got a black president. We cool. We back straight. You know, like, hey, put them guns away. Don't do as much. But now, with Trump spewing hate everywhere, and make, you know, it's back on the same flare that we kind of patted out. That fire that we patted out with Obama, now it's bigger than ever because we didn't solve that problem back then.
Right.
When Obama was in office. See, Obama was good for holistic world relationships, like connecting with the rest of the world. I don't know if he was so good for black people.
Okay.
I don't think he was. I think he did right by you know, the LGBT community. I think he did right by passing them laws and making sure that it was equal rights for anybody when it came to like marriage. I think that was great. But if we being specific about Obama, let's be 100% honest. I didn't see any change in my life.
Yeah.
Because he became president. I felt the same as I do almost kind of now with Trump. Not the same, but I mean, there's not as much hate out. And I think I was a little bit more prideful. Like, hey, we got a black president, but it didn't change nothing in my life. The only thing, and the worst thing about Trump is that he stacked the Supreme Court justices so bad. It's going to carry on for centuries. Like, it'll be they can't be unappointed. So it's like he's got, even when he leaves, it's going to be he's still there.
Well, and the whole thing about Obama still had 9 months in office, and you know, and our own senator Grassley, you know, on the Judiciary Committee, they wouldn't see Obama's nominee. I mean, and these are people that read the Constitution and touch themselves. You know, oh my God, it's the Constitution clearly states that the president appoints, but they were holding out, hoping a Republican would get elected. So one of the things, I don't want to get too far off this, because this is why I asked you the question. You know, this is why I have conversations with interesting people. You know, because so if what should Obama have done differently, or when Andre Wright gets elected president, you know, and I'll be on your campaign team, like what would have been some better moves, or what are some things that you think ideally should have happened that would have helped put the fire out, not just, you know, throw a wet towel on it for a few years and then pull the towel off?
Well, it all boils back to economics and infrastructure. Let's be 100% honest. You live in this really nice neighborhood, but if we go over there on Taylor and Davis and all that, why is the neighborhoods in the streets and all that? Why is it tore? Why is there liquor stores everywhere? Why is it like that in those neighborhoods, but it ain't like that right here? You see what I'm saying? So the infrastructure, I think Obama could have done a lot for black culture as far as infrastructure. Let's put some stuff in place to minimize what actually goes into these neighborhoods and actually increase. Man, why couldn't we have a community garden in every black neighborhood? Let's start there. We know the black population is on the bottom, right? Let's just be 100% honest. We know that. As a country, we know that the black folks is on the bottom and there's white folks is pretty much on top. Let's just be 100% clear. If you know that, then where do you go give the help? To the folks that's on the bottom. The people on the top already have enough to be able to take care of themselves and be sufficient. But these folks don't. So economically, how do we help stimulate some stuff in those communities with health, wellness, and resources to build up those communities so they could at least have a chance to fight for themselves? That's what I didn't see.
Okay. Even
with all the programs and everything that was happening, I think he had some brothers, sister program. No, he was our greatest president. I'm not even going. Obama was one of the greatest presidents to ever sit in that seat. But as a black man, I know what he did for the black culture. Not saying that he wasn't smooth, he wasn't cool, he was everything we wanted him to be. Great speaker, very, very nice human being. But if we talking about specifics, that's just what I saw from my lens.
Yeah. And
I think he could have provided a lot more resources, and maybe he was that the person to calm us down and for us not to, you know, really have the uprising that was bound at some point it's gonna happen. You know, like whatever. Let's pray to God that I'm an optimistic person. I pray that nothing terrible happens to anybody, but at some point it's the boiling point, right? With the world coming to a sense of where we got global warming, we got hate and fighting, we got mental health on the rise, we got people shooting up schools, we got people, you can't even go on a date with your girl now because you're afraid you might get shot in the movie theater or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we got all this stuff that's happening around us, and sometimes it feels unhopeful. You know, like, man, I got 3 kids, so definitely I want to be optimistic about how we can change things in the world. And I don't know if you guys saw there's a Bill Gates documentary
called Inside the Mind of Bill Gates or something like that on Netflix.
Yeah, it's really good because he's now on climate
yet.
Change. That's his thing, and he tried to create this. He's using nuclear energy to create less CO2s or carbon, whatever, whatever. And right when he was about to launch it, what he was going to launch his partnership with China. This was like a few months or a few weeks back or something, like whatever happened. The tariffs kicked.
Oh yeah.
Trump kicks in the tariffs, so he has to stop his project, which could save the planet.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's bigger than race right now. It ain't even a black and white issue. It's like us versus the machines.
I agree.
It's us versus it's the rich versus the poor. It's still black and white.
Try to stop banging the table because the mics.
So it's rich versus poor. It's us versus the machines, and trying to slow down autonomy. And then it's us. There's still the racial thing right there. There's still so much racial tension, and like we should be so past that. Like you ain't. Like, oh my God, we should be so past that. But people want to antagonize it and make it about that. Like, I got this and you can't have this because of this.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, when we talk about Bernie Sanders from a socialist standpoint, I agree with him on that level. How do we get this to just be across the board and be, why does this man have billions of dollars, but this homeless guy, he ain't got nothing? Why you got 25 houses but this guy don't got one sandwich? Like, why he ain't got no sandwich,
One
man?
of the things about Bernie and all of his socialism talks. So you know, I mean, we have about 5 minutes left or so, but Cooper knows where I'm going to go with this because I've heard, how do we bring up economically depressed people? Automation coming in. You follow Andrew Yang at all?
I've been watching. I've been paying a little bit of attention to Andrew Yang. I believe in some of his methodologies, but I'm not at this point in my life with politics. I don't really care to look. The Democrats and the Republicans, red or blue. Look, I'm not choosing any side.
Sure. It's back to that team thing.
Yeah, man,
if I'm on Team Red, every single thing they do is terrible. That's stupid, and it is on both sides.
Because I'm like, to be 100% honest, I'm somewhat of a capitalist. I'm a businessman. How can you be I guess you can be a socialist business guy, but I'm more like, I'm about profit at the end of the day. Not that it would jeopardize my integrity or my values of who I am. Like, if it's something that I don't believe in, I don't do it. I don't care how much you're going to pay me. But at the end of the day, I got a family to feed, so I am about profit.